Welcome to your mat today. I'm going to ask you to stand with your feet a little bit wider than your hips so you feel really solid in your stance. And then just allow yourself to sway a little bit back and forth, shifting the weight from one foot to the other foot. If you're feeling really disconnected today, you can just take your arms and place your hands on opposite biceps here. Just give the arms a little squeeze. You can close the eyes if you like or leave them open. Just squeeze your forearms, squeeze your wrists, squeeze your hands together. And then just let the hands come down in front as you slow or still the movement. If it feels good to stay rocking, just stay rocking. And start to inhale, letting the arms rise, the hands rise up towards the chest. And as you exhale, gently push the hands down, feel the weight sinking into the feet a little more. As you breathe in, fill up, and as you breathe out, let yourself empty. Do that a couple more times. Fully present here for your practice today. Practice to build some strength, build some heat in the body. One more time. Let those arms reach up overhead with a deep inhale. And exhale, bring the hands into the heart space. Let the hands release to the front of your thighs. Let your shoulders come forward, your chin into your chest, and your hands just slide all the way down as far as they'll go towards the earth. Letting yourself again shift weight from left to right. Let the body sway as it feels ready to sway. As we move through the practice today, just listen to what your body needs. Provide support whenever you need it during the movement. And let your body begin to restack again, tucking the tailbone, lifting the chest, lifting the shoulders up, back and down, head comes up last. And just standing at the top of your mat if you're not already there. Allow for the arms to sweep up overhead with a deep inhale. As you exhale, open up, fold your body in half. As you inhale, there's a half lift to a long, straight spine. And as you exhale, we let that go. Sweep those arms overhead again, standing tall. Come back to your heart. Release the hands, sweep them high. Open up, soften the knees, lengthen and fold. Half lift. And release. Sweep up overhead. And into the heart. And then from the heart, rise. Just your right hand now is going to come down to your side. Reach the left up and over the head. Nice deep side bend. Stand tall, hands touch over top of the head. Exhale, other arm down. We side bend in the opposite direction now. Opening up through the ribs, through the waist. Let yourself rise, palms touch, and then open up those arms. Fold. Half lift. Soften the knees, step your right foot to the back of the mat. Let the knee come down, uncurl the toes. Let the arms float up in front. Turn the palms to face forward, pull the elbows down. Lift your chest. Try to lift the wrist up a little higher, the fingers drop back a little further. Drop those arms, open up through the chest. Eyes down, hands down. Hips go back, lift your toes. As you breathe in, come back to lunge. As you breathe out, hips back, lift your toes. Again, coming forward to lunge and coming back. Hold on to this hamstring stretch just for a breath here. Try to lift up through the heart, lift up through the belly. Come back to lunge position. We're going to slide your left foot straight back behind you now. Toes come to the earth. Left hand under the shoulder, right hand in front. Baby finger just touching the floor with the arms extended. Now hold strong through the midsection. As you inhale, let the arm and leg rise. As you exhale, lower down. Nothing moves in the center, just the arm and the leg. Lifting and load. Last time, lifting, hold. Allow hand and knee to come back to the earth. Curl the toes under, just hover the knees off the floor. Look ahead of your hands. Push the hips back, lift your tailbone, lift your belly. Start to lift the knees a little higher as you send your heels a little lower, downward facing dog. Flatten out your hands, spread out your fingers. Tiptoe your feet up a little closer towards your hands, pushing the ground away, and then make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. Sweep those arms overhead, press your feet into the earth. Come into your heart. Sweep those arms up overhead. Fold from the hips. Lengthen your spine, look ahead. Fingertips down, step your left foot to the back of the mat. Let the knee come down, uncurl the toes. Sweep the arms overhead, palms are gonna face forward as you bend your elbows down and pull them back. Wrist crease presses a little bit higher, thumbs drop a little bit lower. Fingertips drop, lift your heart. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands to the earth, hips go back, lift your toes. Come back to your lunge, plant your foot, drop your hips forward, and then send them back to lift the toes. One last time, coming forward and coming back. Just hold for a beat here. We're going to come back forward to plant the foot, and then take the right foot straight back behind you. Right hand is under the shoulder, right baby finger on the floor in front of the shoulder. Raise the extended limbs, but try not to arch your back. And again, lift and lower. Last time, lift and hold. And release. Hand under shoulder, knee under hip. Curl the toes under. Allow the knees to just barely hover off the ground as you push the hips back a little bit further, and then start to lift the hips higher. Let the heels come lower, straightening the legs as much as you're able. Broadening across the back as well as the chest. Pressing into the index finger mound. Making your way slowly to the top of the mat by tiptoeing in as far as you can, keeping the arms elongated until eventually you just make the rest of the way there, swaying when you get to the top. As you inhale, half lift and lengthen. As you exhale, fingertips to the ground, sit your bottom down, and then let your arms rise up. Chair pose. Holding. Knees in line with the hips and in line with the toes. Draw in through the low belly, down through the tailbone slightly. Look ahead. Let your arms rise as you straighten your legs. As you exhale, fold. Inhale to that half lift again. Exhale, fingertips down, right foot to the back of the mat. Let those arms rise up slowly as you press down firmly into both legs. Palms face forward, elbows pull down. Drop the fingers back, press up through the wrist. Eyes go down, fingertips down to frame your leg. Straighten your leg as much as you can, sending those hips back. And then inhale to lunge. Exhale, pull back. Inhale to lunge. Exhale, pull back. Hold on here. Return to the lunge position. Take your right hand all the way over to the edge of the mat. Raise your left one up. As you exhale, come back to frame your foot. Slide your foot back, but just let it hover here off the ground in play. Always an option to drop that right knee. Holding on. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, bring your knee to your elbow on the left. And inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, press it back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Take it back to plank position. Lower the knees to the ground. Eyes at the elbows. Look to the front. Whole body now lowers slowly to the earth. Point your toes. Lift your shoulders. Lift your heart. Little baby cobra. Let your hands hover. Float off the ground. Lengthen your neck. Pull your elbows back. Hold and breathe. On the exhale, lower. Press back to child's pose. Hips all the way to the heels. Rest your head. Come back to table position. Curl your toes under. Hover your knees. Lift your knees. Lift your hips. Descend your heels. Press into your hands strongly. Feel your triceps engage. Tiptoe forward. And then fold at the top of your mat. As you inhale, half lift. As you exhale, sink those hips down a little lower. As you inhale, raise your arms now. Right up beside the ears if you can. Hug in through the belly, descend through those hips. Nice straight back. Pull back on those thumbs. Reach up with those fingers. But leave space for your neck here. Drop the shoulder blades down. Holding on. The next inhale, press into your feet. Let your body rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Release and sweep them high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, soften those knees. Left foot now to the back of the mat. Anchor in your foundation before you rise. Exhale, pull the elbows down. Drop the fingers back. Press up through those wrists. Lift through the rib cage. Bend into that front knee. Eyes down, fingers down, straighten that leg. As you inhale, come back to your lunge. As you exhale, pull those hips and belly back. Good, come back to lunge. And then pull back and hold for me. Let's return to the lunge position. Left hand goes all the way to the left side of the mat. Right hand rises, twisting your lunge now. Extend through that back leg, strong back leg. Hand comes down to frame your foot. Make sure the hands are under the shoulder before sliding your right foot back and just letting it hover here in plank position. Try to keep shoulders, hips, and heel in a straight line. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your knee to your right elbow. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, back. Exhale, pull in. One more. Send it back. Lower the knees if you wish, or keep the legs straight and lower the body. Slow as you can. All the way to the earth. Point your toes. Lift your shoulders, lift your heart. Lift your hands. Pull those elbows into your sides. Spread your fingers wide. Look slightly ahead of your mat. Shoulders moving towards your hips. Breathe. On the exhale, lower down. Press back. Child's pose. Tailbone to the heels, forehead to the earth. Lift your head, look forward towards your hands. Make sure they're near the front of your mat now. Drop down onto your elbows. Bring your hands to stack on top of one another and move your shoulders over top of your elbows. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the ground here, coming into an elbow plank. Now your feet are wide as your hips, maybe even as wide as your mat. See if you can press into your left forearm and raise your right arm, stretching it straight ahead. Try to keep your hips square to start. And then we're going to slowly let that right arm circle up to the ceiling as we tip the heels to the left, coming into a side plank. Take the arm all the way down to your top leg. And then circle all the way up and over again. Reaching forward, pivoting back to center. Letting the hand come down. Switch the hand that's on top now, left hand on top. Push into the right forearm, pull up through the belly, extend the left arm. Start to lift that arm, heels tip to the right. Circle all the way to your top leg. And then circle all the way up and back. Heels come to center, hands are stacked. Let the knees slowly melt down. Uncurl the toes, press the hips, take your hands out in front. Little Sphinx pose here. Drop the shoulders, press the heart forward. Good, let's take the hands, stack them again. Take your elbows wide, melting down onto your belly. Rest your head for a moment. Sway the hips a little side to side. Separate your hands now to goalpost arms. Just let the forehead rest for a moment. Lift your arms up off the floor. Lift your head and shoulders up off the floor. Hold. Now just do a little pull back on the elbows and release. Pull back on the elbows and release. Two more. Pull and release and pull. This time as you pull back on those elbows, place your hands beside your rib cage. Continue to press into the hands to let yourself rise up a little higher now. Press into the tops of your feet, lift your knees. Pull in through your belly space, lift your hips, roll back on your toes, downward facing dog. Push into your hands firmly, spread out your fingers. Bring your big toes together in the center line of the mat. Lift your right leg up nice and high. As you exhale, step your right foot outside of your right hand. And then step your left foot outside of your left hand. Drop your bottom down, lift your gaze, lift your shoulders over your hips, come into a low squat. Push those knees apart, using your elbows here. Feel this nice deep release. Allow your fingertips to come to the earth. Send your hips up to the sky, turn your toes forward, bowing in. Have your fingertips right in front of your toes here, deeply bend into your left leg, let your right arm rise. Exhale, right fingertips in front of the toes, left hand rises, bend into your right knee. Both fingertips to the earth, both knees softly bend. Step back to a wide-legged plank. Shoulders right over top of your wrists. Feet are wider than your hips. We're going to lift your left foot up off the floor. Keep your hips in line with your shoulders. Try not to raise the hips too much. And then we're going to bend your left knee. Tuck it underneath the right arm and extend your leg out. Come back, toes down to the earth. Right leg now, we lift the heel, keep the hip in line. We bend the right knee, pivot on the left toes to kick underneath that arm, and come back to plank. Lower to the earth. Point your toes, lift your heart to whatever degree feels good for you. Maybe to up dog, and then make your way to down dog. Allow for your toes to come together, center line of the mat. Your left leg now is going to lift up nice and high. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Toes turned out slightly, drop your bottom. Lift your hands to your heart. Back to the low squat. Start to work on leaning back just a little more with the torso. Gaze is up. Make sure your head is in line with the rest of your spine. Deep breath. Good. Fingertips to the earth. Hips to the sky, toes turned forward, right at the edges of your mat. Have your fingertips in line with your toes. Bend deeply into your right leg. Raise your left arm. Good. Left arm comes down in front of the left toes. Bend your left leg now. Raise your right arm. Both fingertips down. And then flatten out those hands. Step your feet back to that wide plank. Good. Raise your left toes off the ground. Heel is lifting in line with your hip. Pivot on the right toes. Kick that left leg under. Plant the baby toe edge of your foot. Raise the right arm. Look down towards the mat. Press into strong straight legs here to lift that hip a little higher. Hold and breathe. Allow for the right hand to come down. Maybe sweep underneath just a little. And then inhale to rise. Exhale, sweep under. Inhale to rise. Exhale, place your hand directly underneath your shoulder. Allow for your left leg to come back to that wide plank. Lower to the earth. Bring your legs a little closer together. Lift your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. As you breathe in, come back to plank, scooping that belly in. Take your feet back a little bit wider again. Push strongly into your hands. Raise your right heel up off the ground. Pivot on your left toes, kick under and through. Place the baby toe edge down. Raise your left arm up. Deep inhale. As you exhale, sweep down and just maybe a little under. Inhale, lift. Exhale, under. Inhale, lift. And exhale, hand to the earth. Come back to plank. This time lift all the way up to downward facing dog. Take your feet wide to the edges of the mat. Allow your heels to come down as you walk your hands in. Start to turn your toes out. Drop your bottom down. Find your low squat now. Back of the mat. Lifting the heart. Try to make the front of your body less contracted. Open it up just a little. How can you do that? Lengthen your spine. Lift your head. Lift the inner arches of your feet. And then allow for the hands to press together here, but we're going to let them rise up just a little bit so you're no longer supporting the knees with your elbows. And then press into your feet, let yourself rise up a little higher. Feel the strength in your legs. Press into the hands, hug in through the belly, come up a little higher. And then a little higher. And finally, all the way up to the top. Allow for the feet to go just a little bit wider still. So just a little heel toe wider with the feet. Allow the arms to open up now. Palms face forward. Lift the wrists, drop the fingers back. Let the knees still bend in the direction of the big toes. And then press back up. Now you'll notice that at the very bottom, it feels a little bit easier, and at the very top, it feels a lot easier. So we're gonna go somewhere in between for a little pulse. Try to keep the spine tall, belly firm for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands to the hips, stand up nice and tall. Take the heels out a little bit wider now so that you're almost looking a little bit pigeon-toed. Pull back on the elbows, lift up to the chest, fold. Let the elbows fall forward, the shoulders fall forward, round back up to standing tall. Pull the elbows back, lift your heart, fold. Round your spine, drop your head to rise. And last time, folding forward with your heart leading the way. Your back is nice and flat. Reach the crown of your head as you push your hips back here. Breathe. Take your hands to the mat. We're going to keep them nice and wide and walk forward. Now, once you've walked forward a couple steps with your hands, push into the hands again to get those hips back in line with your heels. So your upper body looks like down dog, but your low body looks like wide-legged fold. As you breathe in, let your body come forward so your shoulders move towards your wrists. Step your feet back together in line on your mat. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Look ahead. Feel everything move into the midline for this plank here. Feel your strength. Head is in line with the rest of your body. Now I just want you to do a little bend with your left knee, but it's going to bend towards the right side of the mat. And then lift. Right knee bends to the left side and lift. Alternate now. Left and right. And left, and right. One more time, each side. Left and right. Good, lift your hips, send your heels to the earth. Separate those feet to hip distance, downward facing dog. Tiptoe those feet forward, don't bend your elbows, push into your hands, keep strong through the shoulders, and then make your way the rest of the way. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, sink your bottom, bend your knees. Release your spine. Keep the legs the same now, hips low, arms are gonna rise. Arms beside your ears. Hug in through the low belly, drop down through the shoulders. Pull back on those thumbs. As you inhale, straighten your legs, reach up, look up. As you exhale, commit your heart. From the heart, release and sweep. Fold. Half lift. Soften, send your right foot to the back of the mat. Where your toe lands, place your heel down. Let yourself rise up for warrior two. Try to move your shoulders over top of your hips and deepen your front knee bend a lot. Point the knee towards your middle toe here. Let your back arm float to your back leg. Your front arm is going to float to the ceiling. We're going to let that arm pass by your face, looking towards your back foot. And then inhale, reach it up again. Exhale, legs stay strong. Arms float, circling up. And releasing down. Take that arm to the inside of your leg. Other arm now reaches over your head. Circle down. Reach back and up, opening up your chest. Circle down. Last time. As you circle down this time, find the earth. Both hands are going to frame your foot, pivot on your back toe. Straighten your front leg as much as you can, maybe even lift the toes. Push down into both heels. Lunge. Plant those hands, slide back to plank. Lower to the earth. Point your toes, lift your heart. Pressing into the tops of your feet to lift your knees. And then lift back to downward facing dog. Tiptoe with straight, strong arms to the top of the mat. As far as you can, and then just go the rest of the way. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release, bottom down, a little lower. Check the knees are in line with your middle toes here as you raise your arms up. Press into your feet, look up, rise up. Exhale to your heart. From the heart, sweep wide and up. And then fold. Half lift. Fingertips down, step your left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Where the toes are, let the heel come down, rise up. Warrior two. Shoulders over the hips, spine long, gaze over the front hand. Bend deeper into the front leg. Try to lift the inner ankle on that back leg to really engage and be strong. Back arm falls to the back leg, front arm rises. Let the arms sweep past, look down and back. And then inhale, rise up again. Exhale. Inhale, reach and rise. Exhale. Hand is going to come to the inside of that front leg, bend a little deeper. Back arm's going to sweep overhead. Sweep down, and then circle up. Open a little more. Sweeping down, circling up. This time when you come down, land your fingers. Both hands are framing the foot. Pivot on the back toe. Send the hips back a little, straighten that front leg. Perhaps even lift the toes now, press into both heels. Try to lengthen your spine. Let's return to the lunge position. Slide your foot back to plank. Lower your body slow to the earth. We're going to take it really slow. Land like a feather, and when you do, point your toes, lift your heart. Draw the shoulders back, press the heart forward, stretch through the throat just a little. Pull your hips up and back, forehead to the earth. Raise your head, walk your knees forward just a little bit here, and walk your hands back towards your knees. We're just going to stand up on the shins, curling the back toes under if that feels available to you. Take your hands just to the front of your thighs, but try to open up the front of your chest. We're going to let your right arm stretch forward, up, turning back towards your right heel now. Just touch the fingertips towards the heel. Keep pressing your right hip forward. Let your left arm begin to rise. And then just bend your elbow. Take the fingertips behind your head. Support your head as you press your hips forward and lift your chest up. Descending, descending, descending through that tailbone. Keep the low back supported. Let the fingertips rise again on the left. Bring the hand back to the thigh. Right hand to the thigh as well. And then reverse it. Left arm's gonna reach forward and up. Pivoting to the heel behind you. Continue to press the left hip forward as you raise your right arm up. Soften at the elbow, fingertips to the base of the skull. Allow the head to be heavy as you press your hips forward. Lift your chest. Allow the fingertips to rise. Hand goes back to the thigh. Left hand to the thigh as well. Uncurl those toes. Have a seat back on your heels. Try to sit up tall through the spine. Fingertips reach down for the earth beside you here. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. As you interlace your fingers, bring them down through the heart space and then press them forward in front of the heart. Draw the belly and shoulders back, round your back, tuck your chin. And then begin to rise back up on the shins as you send those arms up overhead. From here, you can either take both hands to both heels or take your hands to your low back here. Pull back on those elbows. Descend through the glutes, through the tailbone. Press your hips forward, thighs forward, as though there's a wall right in front of you and you're staying connected to that wall. But you're just peeling the heart space back and away from the wall, pressing up. You can drop the hands to the heels if you prefer, for a deeper sensation. Just honor your body. One more breath. Let your eyes start to return to the ground in front of you. If your hands are on your heels, bring them to your back. Uncurl your toes. Let the hands slide around to the front as you come to sit back on your heels. Just take a moment here to notice sensation in your body. Experience some tingling, some lightheadedness even. Just letting that pass. And then eventually just letting your hips kind of drop to one side. Let the feet be released from underneath you. We're going to place your right foot into your groin space and send your left foot out to a 45-degree angle. Just going to place the hand gently on the shin here. Let the other hand reach away, so we're creating this diagonal line from fingertips to fingertips. Try to squeeze a little bit the space between the shoulder blades to activate those back muscles. And then lift your bicep up by your ear. See if you can get it right by your ear, not in front of your face, but back beside your ear. Try to press down on both thighs here, and just let the body begin to tip towards the extended leg. Just far enough until you feel a stretch back here in the low back space. If you can reach all the way over for the big toe, please do so. Just don't collapse forward at the belly or let the arm drop in front of the face. Try to keep yourself lifted. Let your body dictate the range of motion here, not your ego. We're going to let this upper arm now sweep tall. Place it on the ground behind you, nice and flat and firm. We're going to press into the legs now to raise the left arm, raise the hips. Reach back over your head. Again, try to get that bicep by your ear. Drop back through that arm. And then sweeping back down to sit. Take your hands behind you and just switch your legs. Pulling the heel in, hand goes onto the shin, other hand reaches out the opposite way. Press down in the thighs, anchor through the sit bones, tone through the belly. Bring the arm up towards your ear. And then see how far you can extend yourself over that leg. Starting to really tune into what your body responds to here. Some people really like to be still in their deeper stretches. Others like a slight undulating or rocking motion, just in and out, easing. The nervous system responds to the movement better than the stillness in some people. So just do what feels good. Explore and experiment and pay attention. One more breath here. And then let your top arm rise and float overhead, placing it behind your hip, down on the earth. Allow your legs to press down. Your right arm's gonna float up overhead now, reaching back. See if you can get that arm beside your ear, lifting those hips. And lowering back down to the earth. Extend your legs out in front of you now. And then bend your knees. We're going to begin a slow descent to your mat. So sitting in the center of your mat, reach your fingertips forward. Lift your chest and start to just tuck your tailbone here. So you're going to really curve your spine at the low back. We want to just see if we can get the sacrum down and pause. Hug your belly in towards your spine. See if you can lower one more vertebra, and then another, and another, and another, and another, until eventually we can roll the entire spine down. Lift the knees up. Place the hands behind your thighs and pull your thighs into your belly. Give yourself a nice little massage. Try to drop your outer shoulders down a little bit here so we get nice and broad across the chest. Release your right leg down to the ground. Keep your left leg into your chest. We're just going to use your right hand here to grab onto your left ankle. And just start to externally rotate at your hip. So you want your knee to point over to the side here. Flex your foot. Grab onto that foot or ankle and start to pull the foot in towards your chest. Opening up through that hip. Pulling in towards your body as close as it'll go. Try to press down into the right leg. And we're going to lift that right knee up and bring it to the left ankle. We're going to take the left ankle now, slide it all the way across so the knees are going to come together as they float in the air here. And one hand is going to go on each shin. Pull the knees in towards the chest. Release the hands from the shins here. Let those legs come apart and then take them all the way apart. Let the knees drop away from each other. Take the hands to the inner line of your thighs, and if it feels okay, you can either just keep your legs bent, hold on here, or start to straighten out the legs. Pushing out through the heels, extending, pressing down into the sacrum, opening up through the inner line of the legs for 2 deep breaths. Let your heels drop back towards your bottom. Use your hands to press your knees back in line with each other. Hands to the back of the thighs now as they pull into the chest. And then release just your left leg. Keep your right leg where it is. little compression on the belly, so pull in nice and close. And then reach with your left hand for your right ankle. Let your right knee move over to the right as far as you can. One hand on the shin, the other hand on the foot or the ankle of your flexed foot, and then pull that foot up towards the left shoulder, towards the center line of the chest, whatever one works for you. Just keep drawing in so that you feel some release in the outer hip here. Deep, deep breaths. Let your left leg rise up now so that your knee comes towards your ankle. Slide the ankle all the way across so that the knees come together, your thighs are touching. One hand is going to go on each shin, and we're just going to pull those legs in towards the chest. Let the legs unravel. Bring the hands towards the inside of the knees, on the inside of the thighs. Let the knees separate. And perhaps extend out the legs. Drop the heels back towards the bottom. Switch the hands to the outside. Press the legs back together. Just plant the feet down now at the edges of the mat. Let your hands rest on your belly space. Both knees drop to the right side. And then they sweep slowly to the left side. Come on over to the right side again. And then over to the left side. Then I'll just ask you to roll to your favorite side and bring yourself to lie on your belly space. Just have your hands stacked on top of each other. Rest your forehead on your hands. Then we're going to externally rotate at the hip here so that your knee is going to come off to the side. Your knee is bent and you're trying to pull your knee up towards your elbow here. Rest your head. You can turn your head to face the same direction as your leg if you like. And then just try to soften in your thighs and in your hips. Just a gentle release here for the hips. You could always place a blanket underneath that knee if you find that it's a little bit tender to rest on the inner knee. Just relax for a few breaths. Stay one more breath here. And then just go ahead and let that leg extend back out slowly so it's back in line with your hip. And then we'll go into the other side. So just letting the knee, the inner knee slide up towards the elbow on the other side. You could change the direction of your head. Begin to extend that leg back out behind you to a comfortable distance away from the other leg. Just give your hips a gentle wiggle from side to side. Rest your forehead back down on top of your hands, and we're just going to spend a few moments here in stillness on your belly today. Try to let your shoulders completely relax here.
Let your whole belly sink into the mat. Lying face down is very grounding, very calming for the body. Now that's true for most people. If it's not true for you and you would rather roll onto your back or side, please feel free to do that. And just let yourself be in stillness for a few breaths here. Take one more full and complete inhale here, filling up right into the low back and middle back space. And as you exhale, let yourself become heavier for one final exhale here on the belly. And then let your hands draw back towards your sides. Use the hands and knees for support to gently press yourself up. Find a seated position, either on your knees or on your bottom, for just a few more moments here in stillness to seal the practice. Let there be softness to your face, to your throat, to your heart. Becoming deeply aware of your strength that is associated with your ability to honor your body, not performance-oriented, but noticing how you feel throughout your practice and giving yourself support and encouragement and compassion and love instead of criticism or harsh thoughts. We always want to be so kind to ourselves. Encouraging and, perhaps pushing a little deeper at times, yes, but never in a way that is harmful. So thank you so much for joining me in our practice today. I hope you feel strong and powerful and able to just get on with the rest of your day now. My heart bows to your heart with respect. Namaste.